Hello, thanks very much for joining me again. Today I'm going to tackle the daddy long legs for the reservoirs. So in the vise I already have a Hanak H230 barbless hook. Again, it's not a dry fly hook, it's a medium gauged wire hook, and this is due to the fact that I'd be fishing this pattern on a 7-weight rod and I don't want to be straightened out. So that's the reason I'm using a medium wire hook and not a dry fly hook. The thread I'm going to be using today is the Vivus E01 and it's a black thread. It's an 8/0, and the first thing I'm going to do is just add a little wax to my thread. And I'll just wind that on. Oops, I've got a bit of bobbin malfunction there. Sort that out. I'm going to start about 1 millimetre, 2 millimetres back from the eye, and I'm going to get a few wraps on. Now I only want to come back halfway up the shank of the hook. Which is about there. So I'm well back to where I would usually finish my fly off. Next thing I want to do is I want to tie in my legs. Now there's several ways of doing your legs. You can buy them pre-tied, or you can tie your own. It's very simple to do, and I'll put a little info bar up on the video of different ways. I simply get a pheasant tail, I cut it off with a pair of scissors like so, and then I peel one strand off, or two if I want to get that forked leg effect, and simply tie a knot in them. I can imagine if you're tying for production purposes, pre-tied ones are very, very appealing, but I'm too tight for that. I just get my kids to do like 100 for 30 pence. Slavery's alive and well in the Simpson household. So I've got, that's how I do it. I just tie 2 little knots in the pheasant tail fibre, and I have 3 of them either side. I'm obviously not going to make you sit through me tying the whole 6, so I've already got my clumps ready. Now I want to have them quite straggly, so I'm going to tie on your side first, like so, and then my next 3 set of 3 that I've prepared, I'm going to come in on my side. It doesn't have to be too tidy, I've got to say. If you've seen the daddies in the water, they just look like a hot mess lying on the surface. So I've taken the waste away. Next thing I'm going to do is come about halfway up my bed of thread. I've already cut a small cylinder using the 4mm cutter, the Gunville cutter, and the next thing I'm going to do is I just want to get it all smooth. So I'm going to use a lighter, catch the end, and I'm just going to roll that in my fingers so I get a nice smooth cylinder. Okay, so I know that the total length of this cylinder is within the competition gauge rules, so the total fly length is going to fit, but it's just a little bit long for my needs, so I'm just going to trim away about 2/8 of an inch. I'm then going to just pinch and loop over the top to catch in that small piece. Then I can lay it in like so. So that's all looking very well. The next thing I want to do is get some of this dubbing on. Now it's the Trout Stalker stuff, scruffy dubbing, my old favourite, and this one's in fiery brown. I just take a little pinch from the bottom here, don't need much. And I'm going to dub that on. Now, There might not seem very much there because this is for the back here. So we want to just put a couple of turns in at the back, covering that tying thread out the way. Then I can push my foam back down. And don't worry about that, that'll sit. So I'm just stripping away the extra bit of dubbing, and I'm going to come in with my wax, because what I want to do next is catch in the stalk of my wing. Now I'm just using a fairly cheap cock cape. I've already picked a feather off that I'm going to use. It's quite a big feather, you can see, and it doesn't really matter which way I tie this one in, as long as it's in correctly. There we go. Lovely. Now a little bit more off my dubbing. And what I want to do is just cover that layer of thread. Remember to leave some room at the front to finish your fly. So I've got my trusty hackle pliers here, and I'm just going to catch the very tip of the feather in my pliers and bring it around. Now the first couple of turns are almost on top of each other with this fly, and then what I want to do is just as if you were winging a stimulator at the front, all the way towards the front of the hook. Now I know this hackle looks big, but don't be worrying, there's plenty of work to be done yet. And once I've got it at the front, I carefully bring everything back, making sure I'm catching the tip of that feather in. Now I've got tension on my thread, so if this falls away now and snaps, it doesn't make any difference, but it's looking pretty tough, so I'm going to catch a couple of turns in there and then I can just pull it away. Next thing then, pull everything back and prepare your head to finish. Now you can do a couple of things here. You can whip finish if you've got that skill, or you can do a half hitch like I do. A little bit of resin just to finish off the head. Then I can come in with my half hitch, snap it away, give it a blast with the UV, like so. Fairly happy with that. Now next thing, I've got my bodkin needle here, and what I want to do is I've just got to angle the vise slightly towards me. I want to come through the centre of the feathers and split them like so. Now it might be difficult for you to see at the moment, but what I've done effectively is split my hackle in at the top here. Now you need about 3 hands to do this next bit, so please bear with me if you can't see. I'll try and explain what I'm doing as I go. So I've got my UV resin brush and I've split the tops of my hackles. I'm just going to pull that down and I'm just going to add a little bit of resin to the top of the fly. I was just a wee bit too savage when I was taking it off the brush. Once you've done that, give it a little burst of UV. Then you need to turn your vise upside down. Now I know this may be going out of focus with the lens I'm using, and you do exactly the same with the bottom. I'm going to pull all my feathers down. Some I've got trapped in the legs there, like so. And once I've done that, again I'll come with my UV brush, just try and grab everything below, and just a little touch of UV. Now all this does really is help keep your wing in place. Just make sure everything's out of the way before you cure it. Don't want to try and get any fibres trapped in there. And that's looking pretty good. So now what I've got, and I'll show you in a second, is a flat wing. And you can see the profile there. I'll probably play about with it a bit more to get the foam body sitting flat. And what you can do is you can either gink up your wing tips here or soak it in permafloat, and there you have your floating daddy. The orange seems to work really well. I've tried other foam, the mauve stuff, but the trout voted for orange, so that's what I tend to tie all of them with now. Thanks very much for watching.